Hello and welcome back to Dan Talks United. It's Manchester United versus Newcastle. It's Friday night, Boxing Day, 8 p.m. kickoff at Old Trafford. Come on, we've got to do this. We've got to get back into winning ways. But like I say, this is the preview. But the first thing I want to do is just quickly have a look at the transfer news. As you can see there on the screen, it is Antoine Semenyo says no to Manchester United. Sounded better in my head, but yes, Semenyo has said no to Manchester United and he's decided to go to Manchester City, unfortunately. So yes, there's only one Manchester in my head, so I couldn't get that City out there. But yes, he's decided to go to Manchester City. Don't particularly blame him because obviously City are way better than us, got a better chance of winning the league. Obviously a way better chance of winning Champions League because they're in it and we're not. But just a quick sort of update there on what Semenyo's doing. Unfortunately, we don't get the key player there. However, is he a key player? Because for me, midfield's key area. So yes, I understand it's a market opportunity. Semenyo's on the market. There's a release clause of £65 million for January, early days of January, so you can see why Ineos were going for it. However, that isn't the key area that we need because we've got plenty of attackers and it's midfield and defence that we need really. So fair enough, we've lost out to City, not great. However, do we need him? That's debatable. Put your comments in below though if you agree, but do we really need him? Or is it just because we feel a bit shitty because City have beat us? Anyway, that's where we are at the moment. So let's get back into things anyway. That's Semenyo. Let's move on. Potentially, Xerxes could be going to AS Roma, but we'll see if that happens because I think he was only going if Semenyo came in, to be honest. So this one's a big one for me in terms of the matchup against Newcastle. We need to get the wins back on the board, especially at Old Trafford, where we need to get our sort of form back together and turn that into a fortress, as I keep saying. So we've played well in the last couple of games, you could say, but playing well has led to no points. Well, 1 point, because we played well against Bournemouth, but then ended up 4-4. Played well enough against Aston Villa, was on top of the game most of the game, but ended up losing 2-1. So we need to get back to winning ways. It's as simple as that, and I think if we don't, it's a little bit crisis mode, like the title says, unfortunately. So obviously we need to get in those European spots for me so that we can start to encourage players to come to Manchester United, because I think our pull's starting to die as this Semenyo sort of starting to show that players who want to actually sign for a team for footballing reasons are not going to come to Manchester United if they actually want to win something, unfortunately. So let's just look at how both teams have been faring in their last games. So I'll go back over to, should I say, FootMob in a second. So, right then. So, last 5 games then. On the left-hand side is ourselves, Manchester United. We beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Drew 1-1 with West Ham, unfortunately. We beat Wolves at their place 4-1. Then we drew at Bournemouth. Decent game, but we drew at our place against Bournemouth, and then we lost against Villa in that most recent game, 2-1. Going across the other side there to Newcastle, they beat Burnley 2-1 at home, then they drew in Europe, then they lost to their local rival Sunderland 1-0, then they beat Fulham in their next game, and then they drew against Chelsea in the last game. They were on top at first. Walter gets 2 goals, early goals in first half, and then they let Chelsea come back into it. So you can see there, both sides have got a bit of a mixed sort of form in recent times, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for us anyway. So back into it there then. Like I say, it's very difficult to determine how we're going to fare against Newcastle because you don't know what Newcastle are going to turn up. You also don't know what Manchester United are going to turn up. And obviously I know they've got players missing, but we've got some real key players missing. So that's a massive issue for us. So let's just get into it there in terms of players that are missing and how that might impact us a little bit. So looking on FootMob again, we've got the 3 boys that have gone to AFCON that we've got missing, especially Mbeumo and Ahmad. And then we've got Maguire, De Ligt, Bruno more recently injured, and then Kobbie Mainoo injured. And today, in the press conference, Amorim mentioned it again about Mainoo and said he's injured, but he's possibly back before Bruno. Now, going over to the right-hand side there, you've got Dan Burn out for Newcastle, which I'd say has been a key player for them. Then you've got Sven Botman, got Livramento, who's a really good fullback, and also they've got Trippier there as well, which is sort of captain material there and is out at the moment. So that could be quite an issue for them. So I'll just fly up there now just to have a look at predicted lineups. That's what FotMob have sort of set out. I would probably, on the left-hand side, which is us, I'd sort of slightly disagree and maybe pull out Yoro and put in Martinez, maybe centre-back, and maybe push Heaven across. And then Dalot probably could stay there. So could Dorgu. Centre of midfield, if Casemiro's suspended, I don't know how that was working because he missed Villa. Then if he's not back in, I'd be popping Martinez in the middle there maybe, and then maybe plumping for Yoro again and give him a chance. But if we do go with Casemiro, if he can play, then I'd be Ugarte and Casemiro in the middle. And then Mount and Cunha can stay as the 10s, and then Sesko up front. And then their team's pretty much okay for them, other than the ones that I've mentioned that are missing. And they've got quite a strong side there. So in terms of midfield, unless we do, or less Amorim does, his tactical tweak to put a few more bodies in the midfield area, we're going to be outnumbered with Bruno Guimaraes there, Tonali and Ramsey. So that's going to be a tough ask if we don't tweak the formation slightly. So again, obviously it's all dependent on which Newcastle you get, obviously, because they are a tough side to beat, as we've noticed over the years. But yeah, if we turn up, we've got every chance. Another key player that I didn't mention that's out as well is Nick Pope in goals. So he's missing as well. So, like I say, I would expect us to set up in that 3-4-3 sort of system, but there may be a slight tweak so that you can get an extra body in midfield to combat Newcastle's 3 guys in midfield. And I think we need to do that if we're going to fare anything in this game, really. So, coming on to sort of score prediction then, I'm going to go with, and it may be shocking, but I'm going to go with 2-1. And that's a 2-1 win for Manchester United. Yes, I've surprised you there. 2-1 win for Manchester United. I've only got a couple of reasons why, and they're not very good. One of them is we're playing at home and we need to win. And the other one is we're due a win. And we haven't. It feels like we haven't won for ages. So we need to just take advantage of the fact that Newcastle's form's a bit up and down and a bit roller coaster. A little bit like ours, but hopefully we come out on top on this one. So just a quick one, as I was saying. Merry Christmas to you all, and I hope you all have a Happy New Year. Please put your comments in below in terms of how you think this game's going to go. Do you think we're going to win? Do you think we're going to lose? Do you think we're going to draw? I'm going for 2-1, as I say. Let's get some positivity for Christmas. So, as always, please like, please share, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.